Hey folks, this is Dave Drimmie from the Wealthy Wednesday podcast, and I'm really excited today. We've got an amazing guest, a friend of mine and my accountant, by the way, called Kevin Engel. Fabulous man. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Dave. I'm good, thanks. Really good. Good to see you again.
Hey, likewise. And thanks very much for joining us. I know you're a really busy guy, but, we've got some time together, and I just really want to, before we learn a little bit more about you, I just want to explain. I've been creating a podcast series called Crash, because nobody knows what's coming in 2023 and 2024, but we've kind of got a rough idea now. But Crash, really, it's a positive spin. It's C stands for cash buffer, R stands for reducing expenses, A stands for really building assets and automation in a business to make a business more lean. S is for standing out, and H is for help. Gathering people around about us who are experts in their field, and accountants, lawyers, whoever can help us grow our business and helping other people. So I wanted to bring you on today because you've got a huge amount of expertise generally in business, and you've grown all sorts of businesses and been managing partner of a major accountancy firm. So can we go back a little bit in your history so we can understand a little bit about who Kevin is?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, firstly, Dave, thanks so much for having me on today. Delighted to be part of the podcast series. Seen some of the stuff you've done so far, and I think it's excellent. It's really going to help a lot of people. So just going back to your question, a bit more about me. So I'm a chartered accountant, been advising businesses in various different forms for 35 plus years now. Previously, or former partner of Grant Thornton, managing partner up in Scotland. But now, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been advising businesses on all sorts of business issues, not just accounting, but just general challenges, particularly mentoring some of the younger entrepreneurs that have started up over the last 5 or 6 years, which I thoroughly enjoy. I'm also a part-time finance director for a number of clients who either don't want or don't need a full-time finance director. Helping those businesses grow through accounting and other skills. So, that's me.
Fantastic. And I believe you're a dad as well.
Yeah, a dad to fantastic 2 kids, Sophia and Zachary. We were just talking before starting this day, weren't we, about just been watching my little boy Zach play rugby. So he's fantastic. And Sophia's a bit older now, 17. Going on to university, so that keeps me occupied.
They grow up too quickly, and my twins currently, as this recording, they're 20 and they're both at uni as well. And I remember when we were going through all the career stuff at school, there was some data that said that 2/3 of the jobs available for them going out of school haven't even been created yet. So I just think it's an amazing time they are entering into the world and the workplace post-uni, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Sophia, talking to her about her career, her university choices, because she's incredibly academic and incredibly bright, takes after her mum, I hasten to add. But actually, it's an interesting stat, and I think we'll come on to talk about this as part of the podcast. The ability of educational institutions to be flexible around the skills that young people are going to need going into the workplace, given 2/3 of the jobs aren't out there already in the workplace, is changing rapidly and has significantly since COVID, and will do even more so. On the back of the, potential, I think most of us think almost certain, recession. So, it's interesting to think about how you advise your kids when it's a very different place when we grew up.
Absolutely. And talking about COVID, it was fascinating to see what's actually happened. Obviously, there's been horrific things that have happened with people's health, etc. But on a positive side of things, I certainly, from my own perspective in helping people grow their business, the amount of businesses that started during COVID were phenomenal. So from your perspective, if somebody starting a business, for example, could you help us understand even some of the fundamental basics, what we should do when we're starting a business, and really just maybe start there?
Yeah, so I'm working with a large number, a good number of businesses that started off during COVID. And while none of us would ever wish COVID on the world again, it did, as you say, encourage or force, in some cases, a lot of people to set up businesses and take that step perhaps they had never thought they would take again. So in answer to your question, the answer lies not so much in the numbers as you might expect from an accountant, but very much in the character and the makeup of individuals. Because starting your own business is scary. It's lonely. It's a big step. People are relying on you, and it can be scary. And the ones that I have seen that have been the most successful are those that have surrounded themselves by help, recognised that they don't have all the answers, and consulted with everybody that they know who can help them to get through those tough times, because it can be tough, but it's achievable. So it's about recognising the need to have the determination to try again, because there are going to be good days and bad days. It can be a roller coaster. So having that support network around you is really important, whether that's friends and family and or professional support advisors, accountants, business coaches, whatever it might be. Just someone that can share the burden. That can make a massive difference.
Listen, touching on that point there, it's really, really valuable. Thanks for sharing that. So you mentioned obviously an accountant. If you were to think of somebody starting a business right here, right now, and to have maybe some mentors, if there were 3 or 4 professionals they should have round about them, what would those professions be, would you suggest?
It obviously depends on the sector that you're in. I don't think the professionals necessarily need to be the important driver. I think it needs to be somebody that has a very broad base in experience with businesses, particularly someone that's been through a recession before and understands the challenges and can help you see around the corners, predict some of the challenges that you might come across. Now, accountants obviously are good at that because they've seen a lot of the financial challenges and worked at senior levels. So I think the profession is less important and more the individual. Can you get on with them? Are they a right fit for your business? And do they have the necessary experience and background? And it doesn't need to be expensive. It's a bit of a myth that you're going to spend thousands of pounds on a business coach, and that's not necessarily the case. For a relatively affordable cost each month, just a half-day chat or some phone calls here and there can make a massive difference. But yeah, accountants are a good start, clearly, Dave.
There you go. Nice pitch there. Terrific. And but it's really, really valuable because part of growing a business is obviously understanding your numbers, knowing your numbers, which is crucial. And you can have as many sales coming in, but if you've got money going out the other end and you don't know your numbers, you've got a problem. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been surprised, I guess surprised at the number of businesses, some of them fairly significant in size, that don't really have a very good handle on their regular income and outgoings. And you might expect it in a newer business, but like I said, there's some big businesses that don't. And that's because in good times, you don't necessarily need to, because you look at the bank balance and it looks good. But the challenge, as you and I know, Dave, and we've spoken about many times, is that very, very quickly evaporates when markets start to slow. And sometimes it's too late because that bank balance erodes very quickly and you can build up liabilities and your sales dry up. And before you know it, you can be in difficulty. So, yeah, the basic fundamentals of having a really, really good handle on income and expenditure, not just on a weekly and a monthly basis, but an annual basis. making sure that your working capital cycle, which is your short-term cash cycle of your stock in your bank, and your debtors, less your current liabilities, your creditors, really, that working capital cycle is properly managed, because depending on the sector that you're in, you can very quickly run into difficulty with managing that. Sectors such as property and construction, which you and I know very well, that working capital cycle can very, very quickly suck up any cash that you've got, and getting out of that hole can be quite difficult. So planning ahead for that, looking around the corners, and making sure that you've got that really well nailed down is important. And it's not that difficult to do.
Yeah, it's good. There's lots of amazing tech in there, and
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it leads us kind of nicely into the scenario we're in at the moment. The Bank of England have kindly forecast recession next year. Obviously, inflation rates are going through the roof. Hiring people is a challenge, and what have you. I've spoken to 4 business owners this week. 3 of them run, on the face of it, very, very successful businesses. They are great technicians, and inside the walls of their office, they're amazing. But outside the walls, there's little or no visibility.
Yeah.
They're not promoting themselves, so they're not even promoting their core values and everything to allow not only just great clients to come in, but to promote hiring based on core values as well. So going into a recession, as I was saying to them, I think it's really important, as the market contracts, our visibility needs to increase so that we pull in the client work, the fee-paying work that we need to not just survive, but thrive in a recession, which I genuinely believe is possible.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, you mentioned earlier on about the recessionary side of things, when it comes to ensuring the business survives and thrives, have you got a few ideas that we could share with people listening to the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to share my thoughts. It's no holy grail, but I'll gladly share what I'm talking to clients about now, given what I've seen in the past. So I've taken on a couple of new clients over the last 2 weeks, actually, who were looking for part-time finance directors. In fairness to them, it was a move that they took, recognizing that we might be heading into tougher waters, and actually bringing somebody on board with financial experience might be a good move for them. But actually, and this is common with a lot of my clients, we actually spend not an awful lot of time talking about the numbers initially, because the starting point for every new client that I take on at the moment is, how are we preparing for what could be choppy waters ahead? And that's about them understanding that there could be some fairly significant changes coming down the line. So the starting point is always, well, what does that mean for you? Because every business is different depending on the sector they're in, the location they're in, the challenges they've got, the borrowing they've got. Everything is different. So there's no one answer fits all. So the starting point is, how do we think this recession or these changes in the economic circumstances are going to affect you as a business? Because until we understand that, we can't apply the controls, the levers, the processes, the changes that need to be put in place to make sure that you are fit to face up to those challenges. And often the key is to start with your people and your clients, because they are the ones that often have the inside view, the look around the corner, or can give you the intelligence that can help you devise a strategy for dealing with the recession. And once you've got that, then you can deal with the numbers, then you can deal with the people and the contracts and the marketing and everything else. But until you know what you think is going to happen, it's very difficult to look into a glass ball and forecast it. So start with as many people as you can that are involved in your business to identify where you think you're likely to be most hit. Your customers will tell you what they think they're going to have to do. Are they going to cut spending? Are they going to increase spending with you because you're an essential part of them surviving? What does it mean for their cash flow? Do you need to renegotiate terms? What do your people see? Because your people are at the cold front, whether it's servicing customers or clients or out on building sites or whatever it might be. They're the ones that can feed back to you what they're hearing. That then feeds into a strategy, and that strategy then help you make decisions with your team as a leader in the business to formulate a strategy for dealing with the recession. So that's the first starting point, which again might be an unusual position for an accountant to take, but it's not a financially driven decision initially. Yes, we can come on to talk around, looking at cash flows and cutting costs and driving up sales and all that kind of good stuff and tax efficient structures. But actually, starting with your people and your clients is probably the best place to start. And your coach, Dave.
Thank you very much for that. Nice pitch. And I think it's really, really valuable, Kevin, what you've shared, because too often as business owners, we will tend to go charging in and just get on with it. Whereas what you're sharing is what I do with all my clients. Anyway, it's about doing the research, what's actually going on. And then taking that and then going into your strategic plan. You can do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You can look at the trends. And one of the big things I see is core values. And, what's actually happening is in the industry I work in is since COVID hit, basically the industry construction has been just flying. They're all existing on cash flow. Not all of them. A huge amount of them are existing on cash flow. And unless they take the advice you've actually provided there and do some research, there's going to be a shock potentially in Q1, Q2 next year for them. Yep. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the challenge with the property and construction sector is it's such a diverse sector, and there are so many different areas that can still thrive through a recession. And we've got these odd circumstances at the moment where there's pressure on housing prices, but there's a chronic shortage of housing stock still. So there's a demand there for housing. So, and obviously for a lot of property and construction companies, servicing debt, both COVID-related debt and pre-COVID, is going to be a challenge because most construction projects are funded. And the money coming in from the current construction projects is funding the debt that was used to fund the previous construction project. So, you've always got a bit of a wave there that you're going to have to get over if things suddenly stop. So yeah, I think that was a problem in the last recession. I can remember somebody saying to me in 2008, the problem with recessions is everybody's used to growing fast in good times. And then all of a sudden, when the merry-go-round stops, you've got all of this weight that you're carrying that you have to shed very quickly, and that's hugely disruptive to the economy. Hopefully, post-COVID, that's not the case, but we'll wait to see.
I'm reminded of a quote by Walt Disney, actually, and I love it because it's very positive. And he said, "Somebody said there's a recession coming. I choose not to participate."
Yeah, I remember that. I would look at it in a slightly different way. There's a recession coming, and I choose to embrace the change that will bring because, it is an opportunity, and that won't be the case for everybody. But I think it's a mindset. If you can adopt that positive, I'm going to embrace the change. I'm going to look for ways around it to reshape, make us a better business as a result of it. We've got a far better chance of weathering the storm.
Well, on that note, and we talked briefly before about whenever there's turmoil, there's always opportunity. I think in the 1920s depression, the 1930s depression, there was it was horrific, but there were more millionaires created at that time than any other time in history. And for me, an example, just a recent example, a friend of mine left a solar wholesale company 6 years ago, stayed in renewables, and has been asked to go back and join them.
Yeah.
Their monthly turnover now was their annual turnover 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So they're looking at acquiring 50,000 square foot sheds to hold their stock. They're looking at doing all sorts of other things. So I think there's a terrific opportunity when we actually have the mindset to go looking for it. But that comes back to what you said earlier on about surrounding yourself with like-minded people who can see what you can see.
And coming up with a strategy. That's all that this is about, is surrounding yourself with people that have either got the experience or have got the current intelligence about the marketplace that you're in, whether that's customers or whether it's your people or others, to be able to, as best you can, see around that recessionary corner to actually what are you facing, and all you can do then is plan the best you can with that knowledge.
Well, I think I'm just working with just started working with a wonderful company. They do just over 10 million a year, and the owner was really slightly frantic. He was his finances side of things. He was looking at gross margins, and he's in a slightly challenging sector. But I sat down with him and started doing a one-page strategic plan, and it opened his mind to possibility outside his core offering, and looking at other niche areas based on his strengths, his weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. And it was he just looked at me after our session and just went, "This is fabulous. This is it's just like a one-page roadmap. It's like a dashboard for me." And he was so excited. And it was just that energy was back in his eyes again. It was I was so grateful just to be part of that, actually. So sorry, I just wanted to share
that. Absolutely, and this planning piece that I'm talking about, and we're spending a lot of time on it because it is important. Is really no different to what you would encourage business owners to do on a regular basis, but the driver often isn't there, quite understandably, because everybody's busy. And that discipline of having a regular business plan can often open up your eyes and opportunities or your mind to new opportunities for you as a business, whether you're in a recession or not. So these things do tend to focus the mind. So, coming back to the clients I'm working with at the moment, so let's say we've gone through this planning exercise, we've consulted far and wide, and we've come up with the key changes that we think are likely to impact our business, call them risks or things that we need to address, whatever it might be. The next stage is then how do we address those? And some of those will be financial, some of them non-financial. And I always advise businesses on a strategy based on 4 key scorecards. So, 4 quadrants. And those quadrants are your clients or your customers, your people, your markets or your marketing strategy or your branding, and your operations / finance. And there's nothing in your business that you do that doesn't fall into one of those 4 categories. So I often strategize with clients around those 4 categories. So if we've gone through our business plan, let's say we actually need to invest. We've decided that we're going to go at this head on. We're going to grow our business through this recession. So we're going to supercharge our branding because it's got a bit tired, or we're going to rebrand, we're going to restructure, we're going to make ourselves super attractive to the marketplace to really stand head and shoulders above others. And I know that you do a lot of this stuff, Dave, so I won't step on other people's toes. So you've then got a marketing strategy that you can think about. That's exciting. Let's say you've looked at your people structure and actually you've not got the right skills in place for where you think your business is going to go. You might need to do some more product development. You may need to do less administration. You may need to invest more in the marketing. So you can go about doing that. The finances, that's where I would get heavily involved sometimes not. It depends on how difficult it is. But yeah, clearly you've got to look at how you can drive your sales forward. Have you got the right contracts in place? Are you protecting yourself? Have you got credit insurance for bad debts? That could be really important depending on the sector that you're in. Are you maximizing your payment terms to your suppliers and from your customers? Have you got proper cash flows in place? Do you really, really know what your cash flows are going to be over the next 12 to 24 to 36 months, which broadly is where we think the recession might cover if it happens. Not only just on a not only on a one cash flow basis, but have you sensitized that for your sales going up, your sales going down, your prices coming up, your prices going down, so that you know in every single scenario exactly what you're going to do very quickly to change tack if all of those inputs move. Really, really important. In some cases, reducing costs is important. My personal advice would be don't start there, because often cutting costs in a recession, if it's not the right cost, can be really painful, and it's everybody's natural reaction to cut costs. So think long and hard about that and consult widely before you go down that cost cutting route. Do you need to reshape your business? What about your operations? Are they efficient? Are they slick? Have you got proper controls in place? Are you getting regular management accounts so you know what your financial results are? Have you talked to your accountant about tax efficient planning? Are you claiming all the tax reliefs you can for research and development, entrepreneurial relief, all sorts of other stuff? Do you need to get investment? If you're going on a journey, often in recessions, investment is really attractive to people that have got a bit of money, because whatever interest rates do, you're never going to get the same return if you leave it in the bank account. But actually investing in a company at a relatively low price in a recession can generate significant returns for investors. So lots to think about on the finance stuff, clearly. And finally, people strategy. They are your most important asset in a recession if you've got the right people. So don't lose sight of the importance of motivating and leading them and making sure that they've all got a visibility of the role that they need to play in the business. What are their targets? What are their objectives? How do they fit into the overall picture? Just so important.
I think that's really valuable, actually, and it goes all the way back to the strategic plan, because if the business owner doesn't know their vision, if they don't know their mission, and I'm not talking about some blah, blah, blah vision, it's just a sensible, focused vision.
Yeah.
And if they don't know the values, basically, if they can't lead the employees and say, we're going this way, then there's confusion. So I couldn't agree more. That's goes all the way back to strategic plan. But people are the asset to help you scale your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, your business is generally not a lot without your people, and you've worked so hard to build that team, particularly if you're a new and fledgling business. And actually, the newer business tend to be good at this. In my general experience, because they recognise the value. It tends to be the more established businesses that maybe got slightly older sort of working practices in terms of people and culture and that kind of stuff, which is an opportunity to refresh it. But yeah, being honest with your people, being that leader, but a consultative leader that subservient in some ways leaders that. You're there to look after your people, but getting their input into how you do things and making sure they clearly understand their role and feel included is just so important.
Listen, brilliant advice. And when we go back to the CRASH acronym again, we've got a cash buffer, we've got reducing costs, we've got assets and automation, and people are fabulous asset, but the automation can actually make you a leaner business, maybe using some tech, whether it be finances, CRM system, whatever. And then you've got standing out, which you mentioned, and then the help. So I think you've really dovetailed very nicely in what we've been talking about in recent shows. So really appreciate that. So one of the other aspects of things, and certainly goes back to the cash buffer, is after every recession, my knowledge, you can guide me accordingly, but a lot of companies in the past have major challenges coming out of a recession. So let's just say this latest one goes for 24 months or something, and I was to be growing a business out of recession, but I don't have cash reserves. What's likely to happen to a business then?
Again, it depends on the sector. It's a good question, because it depends how much you need as a cash buffer. whether you've chosen to invest that cash buffer in driving your business coming out of recession. But generally, it's important to have some reserves in place to, continue driving the business and growing it forward. I think, as a general rule, if you've managed to ride the recession with a reasonable amount of cash in your bank, then you again, depending on the sector, then you've done well. So having a little bit in reserve is obviously always important, particularly in a recession.
Outstanding. I just think it's there's the old saying that cash is king. It's a bit like oxygen, isn't it? You need it to it to be able to breathe. So, Kevin, listen, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are there any other golden nuggets or insights that you possibly can share with the folks that are listening to the show?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it comes. It's common sense, not quite common sense. It's not. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We've been through recessions before. Every recession is different. So how you make yourself recession-proof as best you can is not something that we've just suddenly decided we're going to think about now. I think I just come back to that point about planning, having your right people and the right network and support network around to support you is really, really valuable, because as at all times as a leader, whether in business or any other walk of life, there are times when it becomes incredibly lonely. It's a big responsibility, whether it's a small business or large. It's all relative. So having people around you that you can reach out to support and help, either professional people or others, is absolutely critical. And they will find a way of helping you get through and giving that advice that you need. So that would be my closing emphasis, if you like.
Well, listen, Kevin, that's fantastic and a great place to close, and appreciate you sharing that. So you've shared some amazing insights with us, and really, really appreciate your time. So if somebody wanted to get hold of you, what's the best way? Are there a couple of ways that somebody, if they wanted to follow up on this show and wanted to get in touch with you, how can they get hold of you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, mobile, 07970665249. It will come up on the screen, I'm sure, at some point. Or my website, kevin@awkaccounting.com. Just send me a message through there. That's the easiest way. Or email, which is kevin@awkaccounting.co.uk. So any way to get hold of me is absolutely fine.
Brilliant. So the website again is AWK, A for Apple, W for water, K for kilo, AWK accounting.co.uk.
Accountants.co.uk, yeah.
Accountants, plural.co.uk. AWK accountants, plural.co.uk. Brilliant. And it's kevin@awkaccountants.co.uk.
That's it. Yeah. Google it, you'll find it.
Hey, listen to that. And I guess Kevin Engel, Engel, on LinkedIn is another place that people can find you as well, correct?
Yay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. I forgot that.
No worries at all. Listen, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And so, folks, listen, this CRASH series, the acronym, it's a positive spin on potentially what's coming or likely to come. And what we want to do is make sure that you are able to ride the wave, the tempest that possibly is coming, the choppy seas. And Kevin Engel has just done an amazing job here today. So I'm just going to close off this podcast now. It's Dave Drimmie from the Wealthy Wednesday podcast. Listen, we've got another guest coming next week. Hope you can join us then and gain some more fabulous insights. But for today, I'd just like to say thank you to Kevin Engel again. Amazing. Appreciate your time, sir.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Dave. Good to chat.
Take care.